Hey guys, and welcome back to Wine and Chill with Sherrie and Vanessa. I am Vanessa and this is Sherrie, and we're so glad that you guys are back. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to our channel as well as hit that notification bell to be a part of the notification game, just to let you know when we're dropping these videos, okay? So on today's segment, we will be talking about singles and how to date properly, how to be single properly, and all of that stuff. So you definitely want to stay tuned. We have a special guest and his name is
What are
Elam.
you drinking today, Vanessa?
Of course, I have my tropical punch here. I'm going to get to the store. I keep saying, I'm going to get to the store. Listen, I've been so busy. I'm going to get to the store so I can get my Pink Moscato. Like, I love Pink Moscato. That's pretty much all that I drink. So I have to get to the store. What are you drinking, Reed?
My Bellini, the same old. Look, we keep having the same. I just have it in the fridge, so I'm gonna just keep using it.
Yeah, all right. Okay. So, cool.
Hey, Elam, what's up?
What it do? What it do?
Hey.
Long day, you know. Let me wind down. No pun intended.
That was my next question. What are you drinking?
I have a little red Moscato today.
Yes,
I'm taking it light. A little light. We got miles to go. It's the end of the month. I'm in sales. 9 to 5 wise. So it's today and tomorrow is everything.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? We told everybody we were having you on to help us understand how to properly navigate single life. So introduce yourself.
Man, I just had a quick flash in my head when you said the word navigate because, and I'll come back. So I'm going to put a Post-it on that right there. So just remind me to come back if I don't come back and talk about that. So, hi, people. Okay, my name is Elam. No, I'm just playing. What's going? So my name is Elam King, originally from New Jersey, graduated from Hampton University back in 1998, and I was a marketing major then, okay? So you might ask yourself, how did I get in this space right here? Because I was a whole marketing major, right? And that was in the Virginia area, left college, and I was really all about money. Honestly, which you guys heard me say earlier, I'm in sales, but I've been doing that pretty much since high school. And so I thought, hey, get out here into life, and, the check was looking good. So I'm like, oh, this life thing is easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm 22, 23. This life thing is easy. And so, and then I remember hanging out during that time, and I remember a friend of mine said, one day you're going to hit a wall. Now, I'm like 22, 23. I'm like, wall? Because think about it. I went from home to college to great job. So I never saw a struggle. You know what I'm saying? I went from somebody taking care of me to me taking care of myself immediately. So I didn't know when he said wall, it didn't even register, And so, got married around 25, 26, something like that. And I was already 3 deep because she already had 2. So, and then we had 1 together. So I went in at 25, 3 deep. Okay. Okay. That's why. But all jokes aside, and then one day that wall did come, and as I walked through that space, I was fortunate to have some other people who were, kind of coaching me along the way or whatever. And so as I climbed out of that, I remember somebody said to me one day, they was like, Elam, you should write a book. I was like, write a book? I said, nobody's going to listen to me. I'm the guy that, stepped out in my family. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's going to want to listen to the infidel, And they said, no, Elam, you're the exact person that people want to listen to.
Exactly.
And so what I did was, and I hope somebody's not about to mow their lawn or something like that, because then I might have to go inside. So if it gets loud, let me know. I'm about to be heated. But And so I wrote a book called Understanding a Man, Empowering Women with Tools for Lasting Relationships. And so what I did was I interviewed 24 men about interviewed 24 men about various topics of the heart, because what I said is that some of the things that I've been through, I want to make sure I put somebody in a situation where they're not walking in that space. I didn't have the leadership that was necessary at a certain point in my life, and so the assignment was then put on me to kind of go back and reach back and make sure. And there's actually a passage about that in the Bible, but we won't go there yet. About just reaching back and helping and strengthening your brothers after you go through what you go through. And but I didn't know all that at the time, you know.
Yeah.
I was just walking and doing things that were uncomfortable, and then somehow, you know, the coaching, and people were always calling me, asking me relationship questions, and I'm like, why y'all asking me? Like, I don't even understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, don't y'all know, I'm trying to get it together. And so, but it was a blessing. And so the interesting part about that is that when God places a talent inside of you, you know, your ordinary is somebody else's extraordinary. And so the same guy that was the marketing major that was all about money one day said, I want to help people. I mean, it doesn't even match. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't go together. I don't know how I got there. I'm like, I care about people. Like I used to not. Don't tell nobody that. So, you know, and so that has brought me to, you know, I travel around doing different events and speaking engagements and things of that nature, and work with couples, life coaching for individuals, and then couples as well. And just, I mean, this thing is steady evolving. So that's the quick elevator version, I think.
That was good though.
The quick elevator, not elevator, but the quick elevator, because it's a lot longer.
That's good.
Yeah. So I guess to start everything, like I wrote some notes. So or at least I think there's 3 types of singles. One is one that's ready for a relationship, like that's what they're looking for. And the second one, they don't really want anything to do with the relationship, like they're just focused on them. And the third one is like, I don't care if I'm in a relationship, and I don't care if I'm not in one. For all 3, what can they, I guess, what's the fundamentals of being single? Like, what should you do to have a prosperous single life? For like all 3, I feel like it's all combined.
I like that question because I think a lot of times people who are in the unmarried, I call it unmarried because, you know, there's married and then there's unmarried. People be getting this confused, like the dating. You're unmarried.
Yeah.
Okay? You're still single. Okay? You're still single. True. You can try to make it cute. I'm engaged. You're single. Okay? So, you know, but we have to start looking at little things like that, but I'll go forward from there. I think there's no silver bullet for single folk. And I want to say that, you know, because married people get on my nerves. They really do, because they always think that they know something. And I want to share, I want to empower my unmarried people for 1 second by saying that you are in the most, you are in an amazing position, because you have the opportunity, regardless of the good stuff, the dumb stuff, whatever. It doesn't matter what you did. You have an opportunity wherever you are of creating that space of what that looks like, to allow somebody else to love you. And I think that one of the biggest things that single people leave out when it comes to walking inside of a relationship, they leave themselves out. Okay, and the reason why I say that, because and they don't see that. It's interesting. What's this guy's name? Bill Gates said. Was it Bill Gates said this one time? He used a great example at a graduation one time. He said, you know, there were 2 fish in the water. You know, so, you know, they're just swimming along and they're talking to each other, right? And so they're just swimming along, and then they pass this old guy, right? This old fish, right? And the fish and the old guy looks over and he says, hey guys, how's the water? And then he keeps on swimming, and the younger fish keep on swimming too. And after a couple of seconds, one of the fish says to the other, what the heck is water?
Oh, I get it. Okay.
And so if you think about it, a lot of times what's right around you, you're not looking at, you know, and you're not making adjustments to. Meanwhile, it is there and it's making adjustments. And whether or not you become an active participant in that is up to you, because life is still going to happen. God's will is still going to happen. Whether or not you become an active participant in that or not is up to you. And I think that the biggest piece, like I said, the unmarried people leave out is themselves, because they don't. This is a time where you can be selfish. Learn about yourself. You're not committed to anybody else. You ain't got to sleep with nobody. You ain't got to talk to nobody. You ain't got to nothing. It's you. And you need to rest in that space, because when you transition into being with somebody else, you're now signed up with a whole nother brain, with a whole nother background, with a whole nother dichotomy, with a whole nother educational level that you have to become long-term of an active participant of staying in that space in order for it to work.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of times people like, they say, being in a relationship, it shouldn't have to be that hard. That's a lie.
Yeah.
It is hard. It's hard to have a whole nother brain sit next to you that don't think like you, and you got to be on the same page.
That's true.
But nobody says that. Again, water. This is all around you, and you with another person that's got another brain, but you think they think like you, so now here you trying to pull them over here. Meanwhile, you've never even really understood exactly who you are.
That is good.
A lot of people who are in relationships right now, and again, to my single folk, you're in a great situation because you have an opportunity of figuring out, how do you feel love? How do you receive love? Right? Let's go to the baseline of love. Okay? I was married 5 years. Okay, Michelle comes through the door in 2008 or 2009. This is after World War V had already gone on. And she comes through the door with this CD one day that she got from New Birth at the time. This is when Eddie Long was there, right? Bishop late Eddie Long. And so, and it was called Love Language. It was a guy that had spoken at the church or whatever. So I'm sitting there listening to it. I'm like, why ain't nobody ever tell me that? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, gifts. Oh, I get it. Oh, words of affirmation. Oh, I get it. Oh, I didn't know that I love myself like that. I didn't know that. And ironically, when I was getting married, when I was engaged at this point, my mom had a conversation with my wife, and my wife didn't tell me this for like 2 to 3 years. No, I think that once we saw the CD, once we listened to the CD, she said this. She said, it's interesting. She said, because your mother told me when we were engaged, she said, if you get behind Elam and pump his head up, he will do anything for you. What was my mother saying? My mother was saying I was words of affirmation.
That's good.
My mom figured it out early on in life. She's my mom. She figured out I'm words of affirmation. She just said it like a 70-year-old woman would say it. Get behind him and soup his head up. AKA, you look up the love languages, one of them, and they're in no particular order, is what? Words of affirmation. But I didn't know that. So people who choose somebody who's a words of affirmation person, you need to understand that people are always listening, but words of affirmation people listen even more, because they're listening for the words to affirm them of thoughts or whatever the love that they're looking for. So when you get with a words of affirmation person, guess what? They're more sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the cost of being loved and loving one.
Yeah.
So when people are like, you're so sensitive, you know what I say now? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And somebody else likes to spend money.
Yeah.
When they go, somebody else can't walk in a store and not buy something when it's on sale. Guess what? That's at the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
And so, I just want to touch on that, just on the love piece, because some people don't even know how they receive love, but they want somebody to love them. So when we talk about what some of the things of, if you're dating with intention, okay, there's dating and then there's intentional dating. Dating is that last person that you talked about. Right? Whoever the last example that you just gave of the three people, that's the last person. The first person could be intentional, but the next two people, if I can remember your order, they're just dating. And if you want to date for entertainment, that's fine. Yeah. But before you move into commitment, let's make sure that you committed to yourself first, because your commitment to yourself is your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Your relationship with yourself. You got to get this one and this one right. That takes like half your daggone life, period.
Yeah, that's true.
And now you want to bring in a whole nother brain and be like, I just want to be in love.
Yeah.
And you don't even know how to love yourself. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? And everybody wants somebody and feel on them and stuff like that. Like, I get it. If you want to do an entertainment, that's one thing. But stop derailing other people, because it's like some people are going down train tracks and you derail them because you don't know what you're doing, and then you go and mess up somebody else. If my name was God for some people, I would not send you your blessing because you're not ready for it. You're going to mess it up.
Yeah.
You're going to mess up a whole nother person and then be like, I don't know what happened. I know what happened. You happened.
Yeah.
And you decided to not happen when you were supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
And you
That's
didn't do it.
good. Yeah.
And now you in a whole relationship and you blaming it on them.
Yeah.
Man, go on. I'm sorry. Y'all want to set it off immediately.
That was good. That was really, really good.
And to like point at the love language part. So I purchased Seth it was a book, like kind of showing our relationship from beginning to where it is now. It was like a picture book, and I wrote stuff on it. So I gave it to him. He was like, "Oh, nice." And then he looked, he looked and he put it aside. I was like, "That's it." That's it. And then later I thought about it. I was like, he's not a gift person at all. And I went to him. I was like, I was like, I kind of feel like I put my love language on you. Like, and he was like, yeah, I'm not a gift person. He used to word of affirmation.
That's
like,
good.
Right.
I don't have to buy him anything, but if I beef him up,
yeah.
So it is.
Let me tell you something.
Oh.
Father's Day is coming in, 2-3 weeks? Guess who? There's a 99% chance that there will not be one card from anybody in this house coming to me. My father might send me one, but my wife and my kids, they're not going to give me one. You know why? Because they learned over time that I don't care. Like, I don't understand cards.
Yeah.
You read them for 30 seconds and you put them down. You don't never read them again.
Never read them again.
No, keep your $7. There's no reason. You know what I'm saying? You can write that on a piece of paper and give that to me. Because guess what? To me, you're affirming me from your words, not somebody else's words.
That's good,
right? So, and then I'm not a gifts person, so I'm like, you could have taken that $7 and got you some fries or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that. But to your point, that's because people love you the way they want to be loved. By default, you just automatically, you're buying them stuff. You know, Michelle was a gifts person, so guess what? You know, after a couple of weeks or whatever months that we were dating, like, she started buying me designer clothes, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, don't do that. You don't have to do that. And she's like, I just want you to look nice, and you're my man, and I'm just like, okay. I don't know where the man thing came from, but let's keep going. All right. And so, no, but seriously, and so I didn't figure that out for like 8 years why she did that. Because we dated for like 3, and then we were married for 5 before I even knew what love languages were. So I just was like, oh, she likes nice things. I had no idea. Because, see, we had health class in middle school, and we learned about, the egg and the sperm, and, what intercourse is, and a woman's cycle, and, where a baby comes from. But we never really learned about interpersonal communication and about the real things about what somebody has. Because here's the thing. If you cannot love somebody the way they want to be loved, that's the wrong person off the top. You can't, just because I'm words of affirmation and physical touch, I can't say, Michelle, you have to want this.
Yeah.
Because people's love language is like their skin tone. It's not changing. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't will them out of it. You can't fuss them out of it. This is what this person feels. One day they're going to change. Every 10 to 15 years you change, right? Which is why people have to stay in tune with each other, which is when you hear the words, we fell out of love. Come on. It's because you didn't realize that you had to be intentional during your single years.
That's good.
And then you meet somebody, and you have to stay intentional now as an intentional wife and an intentional husband. So the single area is the starting point. If you don't start right, can you hit reset and redo it? Yes, you can, but what? It's harder.
It's harder, yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes it's so far gone until some people are just like, you know what? I'm just going to start over. I don't even care.
Yeah.
And that's why, because life is going to keep happening. So when you go from single to married, life don't care about that. It's like, hey, you about to lose your job on this date. You don't even know it.
Yeah.
And now you're with somebody else, and now you're trying to figure out other stuff about yourself, about your finances and whatnot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, over here, you never told them, hey, this is how I love. This is how I receive love. So whether we're in crisis or not, crisis doesn't care about your love.
Yeah.
And during a crisis, when you're together in a relationship, you still have to be mindful of these things, right? But again, if in your single life you're intentional over there, then when this, which is going to come, happens, you're ready for it, or you're more ready.
That's good.
So it's almost like being in the dugout before you go out to swing. At this point, you get the coaches and the people in your ear telling you, hey, when you go out there, hey, this person, it's pitching like this, and it's, you know, you got to watch this and watch that. People don't sit in their space and listen. They just go. Let me just go out here and just, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when you strike out, you mad at the world.
Yeah.
No, you are the common denominator between all of the things that have not occurred correctly in relationships. Who's the one person that's always been there?
Yep.
Yeah.
You.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's 3.5 billion men on this planet. All the men you pick cheat.
That's true. That's true.
The 3.5 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. You just happen to pick of the 3.5 billion. You just happen to pick 4 dudes that don't know each other that got the same characteristic. Man, go on with that, man. That's you.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy though. Okay, so before I met Seth, let's say I probably had 3 like actual relationships, and all of them were fails. All of them were like similar, like you said, they were similar guys. And then I was like, I'm done going through this. So I took almost like two years just for me.
Yeah.
And then guess what? I meet Seth. And he's nothing like the other guys. And Vanessa knows, like, nothing like the other guys. And it's, I don't know, it's crazy how open your mind is, how clear your mind is once you focus on what you need to focus on. Because Seth was right there, and I knew instantly. I was like, yep, that's the one.
That's one of the things that I try to tell people, even on the life coaching. That's one thing that I do, and I'll have a great example. There's 2 young ladies right now that are clients of mine. One of them is no longer going to be a client. Okay. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. We've been working together for almost, August would make 2 years. The other person, October would make 2 years. Both of them were coming, you know, off of some serious past or whatever. And that was the first thing that I instructed them. I was just like, you're not going to have sex and you're not going to date until I say so.
Yeah.
And let me stop right there, because I want to make sure I say this respectfully. As a coach, if you played in a sport, you'll understand the reason why that I just said that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you follow you hire me as your coach, then listen. If you don't want to listen, I don't even want your money.
Yeah.
Because this is an assignment for me. The money is kind of like a monetary extra blessing or whatever for my time, but I will fire a client quickly, because I don't have time to waste your time, let alone mine, because I say some good stuff. And I ain't got time to sit here and listen to you not paying attention. But just hear me when I say that. And that's the reason why, again, to my single people, even if in that moment, if I sound like that I was being arrogant, that's not what it is. It's that God gave me something. I know what he gave me. He gave you something too. Yeah. So it's okay. It's important for me to know what that is so I can share that with this other person. So, again, they know whether they can sign up for, if I want to be a fireman, like, that's it. So I need to make sure I sign up with somebody who's okay with me running out of here, you know, at certain times, or not being home at certain times because they got to stay at the station all night.
Exactly.
So you have to understand what your talent is. So my talent is in this area, right? And so if you don't want to listen, bye, right? And so with both of them sat down in the beginning, both of them, for about 4 months. She was listening hard. The other one sat all the way down, right? Fast forward years later, one person is in a productive relationship, and I promise you she's going to be engaged before the end of the year. If she's watching this, I know. You know, so, you know what I'm saying? Like 3 weeks ago, she hits me up. She said, Elam, remember when I said that I always wanted to be with a guy that danced with me in my living room? And I said, yeah. She said, and she had just posted on Instagram, they was, you know, just kind of jamming in the living room. And I was just like, oh, snap, you did say that. So, because she sat down, she literally sat down for like 10, 11 months, no sex, no nothing, just reading, God, you know, staying focused, working on her outside areas and things of that nature. And now, like you said, just like the same thing with you, Sherrie. You know what I'm saying? And now, Let me tell you what the other one did. The other one, I had to fire her.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, when she messed around and said what she said about where she was in her life, and that she was involved with somebody, and all of a sudden now there's violence going on, and there's a baby coming, and
wow. Yeah.
Dang.
Hold on.
Wow.
Hold on. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what? You don't need me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take your money.
Yeah.
And so I had to push back and just say, there's nothing else I can say to you. There's nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say all that to say that, you know, you have to be willing to make the commitment to yourself and sign up for your progression versus just thinking that something's just going to magically, deliciously touch you on your forehead and you're just going to be this different person.
Nah.
It don't work like that. It's hurtful. It's you know, there's pain that exists in there, but you can get through this because, and it doesn't matter where you are, you can always hit the reset button.
Yeah.
No matter what they say. And that's why, you know, when it comes to those that might want to, you know, might looking at taking their life because of this person and that person, I'm here to tell you that it's never that bad.
Yeah.
It can feel that bad. There's a difference. It feels bad. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anywhere in the Bible where it talks about it ain't going to feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
If you really look at it, it's pretty much telling you, like, you're going to go do some, okay? You're going to go through something.
True. Yeah, true.
All right?
True.
But you know, so just be ready for that and, you know, study to show yourself approved for my single people in this space.
Yeah.
Study to show yourself approved for a marriage. So that when it presents itself, it's not even a question. You know, somebody said, I'm sorry, I'm trying to stop, but I got to say this because for my ladies that might be putting some pressure, my man Ken Stokes said this just yesterday. We were talking, I'm sorry, on a podcast that actually he put out today for the Ken Joy's podcast. He said, ladies, you want a man to marry you because he's making the decision to marry you, not because you are.
Yeah.
Because if he makes the decision to marry you, because this is what happens. You start putting that pressure on, and y'all are having sex, and he's just like, dang, the booty about to leave. All right. I don't think people understand. Men do this, and women can't understand it. If you don't think that a man won't marry you because he don't want the booty to go away, I'm here to tell you, a man will marry you because he don't want the booty to go away. It's no differently than a woman will marry a man because she really only kind of like him, but his pockets are deep. You're looking for security.
That's good.
Money equals security. That's what it is. Security is the number one thing for women, right? It could be security as a father, right? As the father of their children, they're looking for that security, and money equals security. Money satisfies all things. Again, it's in the Bible, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are you can't get mad when you say she's about the money. She's just she's designed like that. She's designed to protect. In order for her young to be protected, they need what? Money.
Yeah.
They eat every day.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They always want to eat. So she's saying they got to eat. You got to provide the eating.
Exactly.
So I say I was going somewhere with this. Gosh, it was so good. So what I was saying is that, you know, for men, so when you're saying, you know, if you're wondering that why a man would marry somebody, just a man will marry you so he doesn't lose you. You don't want that type of man. Because he's actually has not put himself into the space to whereas he's ready. He's doing it because you're ready. And so y'all over there dropping these nuggets, like dropping these little hints, like, I mean, you better hurry up, because, I mean, you know, I ain't getting no younger and all. He's sitting over there like, oh, God. He's talking to his boys about you right now, saying, man, I got to go ahead and do this because. But when you let him make the decision, he makes it his business now. He's intentional now. He's like, I can't lose this. Because this is my decision. So, you know, that's why, and if anybody who's watching this and you haven't received or whatever case it be from that, you know, ladies, I say if you haven't received from that man yet that he wants to walk with you in that space, hit the reset button,
Yeah.
Sit down and have a business conversation. Your relationship is a business.
It's a business. It is, definitely.
Yep.
Marriage is the biggest business, is the biggest financial, emotional decision that you will ever make.
Yeah. That's
So
good.
you got to treat it like call a meeting. It's not all about roses and love and feel on people. Like, that's not what it's about. This, when these little people get here, that's a business. You got to figure out and manipulate different things and move in different ways to make your household run. Particularly ladies, you run the household, right?
Yeah.
So if you're now running your household and you haven't found your purpose yet, now you're getting hit in the head from life and from all these other little mouths, and now you got this whole man and all this and that. This is why you see certain things not work out with married people, because in this space, you're not maximizing who you can be and giving the other person an opportunity of signing up for whoever that is. And that's the reason why, particularly ladies, once they hit their 40s, that is an area where they say that women have the opportunity of being the most unhappy is in your 40s. Okay? The reason why that is, so all my 30-year-olds and my 20-year-olds, pay attention to this, and please Google it. Please Google it, because think about it. The time you hit 40, right? Okay, so you got a job, right? And so you've gone out here in life and chose to not walk in your purpose, so now you're automatically, the majority of your day you're spending being bought at retail and resold at, being bought at wholesale and being resold at retail. So now you're automatically the majority of your life doing something that you don't really want to do. That's the majority of your day. You got a gas tank, right? And it's like you start off the day with a full tank of gas, ladies, right? It's over here, right? And now it's 5 o'clock, right? And you begin to use a lot of your tank when you're doing something that you don't really want to do. When you're walking in your purpose, right? When that tank, start up here, right? That tank, like by 5 o'clock, it might be here.
Yeah.
Because instead of being here. Because you actually get energy back. When you do something for somebody when you do something for somebody and that you want to do, doesn't it feel good?
Yeah, it does.
That adds energy back to you. Imagine that being your job. You're going to get energy all day long, right? Now you come home, society says you always got to be a good mom, right? So now, hold on, come on, gas tank, right? Now you walking in your non-purpose. Now you got little Johnny in there when you come home, and they hungry, and you got to cook, all right? Hold on.
Yeah.
It's now about 7, 8 o'clock, right? Okay. Mama, brother, sister, or whatever. We could just say parents, because when you're in your 40s, your parents are most likely in their 70s.
Yeah.
So guess what? If they're in their 60s and 70s, what happens? Sickness is automatically going to come on board. Automatically, right?
Yeah.
And if there's a son and a daughter, who's going to take care of the parents?
Mostly the daughter.
The daughter. Okay.
Yep.
The daughter's going to do it. So now guess what? Now she got mama and daddy on her. So we got job, little Johnny, and parents. Those aren't small things.
Yeah.
Where your man at? How much you got left?
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much you got left? That's if you got that left.
Yeah.
Okay? And we ain't even where you at?
That's good.
Where your time? Where your time at?
That's good.
Okay? So what ends up happening is that you take the rest of the time for yourself, right? Thinking that he should understand it. And now he come along in the room like, hey. And you like,
yeah.
Dude, I ain't got nothing left.
Yeah.
And guess what? You wake up tomorrow and do the same thing all over again. And that's how you look up and the jokers be 18 and you be like, where'd the time go? That's how people get into the cycle, and they're just like, I don't know when it happened. It happened right in front of your face. You just weren't, again, the water. You just weren't looking at what was around you. So now, my 20-year-olds, my 30-year-olds, my unmarried people, now you spend time maximizing one of the biggest things, which is what you're going to do here in this life. Because remember, the tank mostly left from what you did for the day. And then you had little Johnny and husband and mother and father and all this, and we ain't even say friends yet. We ain't even say whether, just life stuff. COVID.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Stuff that you have no idea when it's coming. We didn't even put that stuff in there. And you see what I'm saying? So when things start to happen, we have to understand that in spaces like this, when we're in an unmarried space, it's time now to build yourself, because you're going to have to parcel yourself out later on.
That's so
and you have to have enough for you.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's good. That I think we have to do a part 2 to this, because this is so good. Like I'm eating it all up, because of course, you know, everybody knows that I'm going through divorce. So it's like, you know, I wish I would have known what I'm learning now, you know what I'm saying, like in my early 20s, because like in my early 20s, I ended up getting married. And so it's like, you really don't know who you are. And, you know, I started out trying to do what I wanted to do. But then when I got in a relationship, you know, it's kind of like I put me on the back burner. So I'm getting into this whole relationship, and it's like I'm trying to play something that I don't know how to play. And I mean, it's just so much that goes along with it. So everything that you're saying is like so amazing. Like I said, I wish I would have known all this before, you know, in my early 20s before I got married. But you know,
I always say that to myself. But I think that's a good point, and I'm glad that you just said that, Vanessa, because as you hit reset, and as some of our listeners are walking on this journey, when you said you wish that you had, that is such a critical piece. Everybody needs a mentor. Okay? Me, if you said right now, Elam, who's your financial person? Man, actually, Ashonda was on, you know, she was on something that we did with Greater Works, right? Who's your financial person? Ashonda. Who is your business person? You know, Lanier, or, you know, I got 2 or 3 people in that category. I got a business manager, right? You know, so I choose to be like Henry Ford. And I learned this in a book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, in that I don't have to know everything. I just have to know where to get it. And so I got people who advise me, because I don't know what I'm doing in certain spaces. Just like you might call me for some relationship stuff. Well, guess what? I'm not like this when it might come to finances. So I have somebody that leads me. Don't ever talk to anybody. Don't ever get mentored by anybody who's not being mentored, because that's arrogant. That means they think they know everything, and you don't. You don't know everything. Okay?
Yeah.
So even in the relationship space, I have a counselor that I work with, right? So, you know, in this space, get yourself a mentor. And if you don't have one, pray about it. You know, let's put this kingdom principle to work real quick. You want a mentor? Ask God to send you one, and sit down and wait for it. And you know, and actively search at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that you know, something so simple of somebody just saying, hey, you just want to, blind spots. They are there to identify. That's why it's called a blind spot. So you can't, when people just say, well, we don't need to talk to anybody. It's called a blind spot. How you going to see it? You blind.
Exactly. That's true.
I mean, you know, if a car can come up with something that you look in the side of your mirror all the time and you think, oh, coast is clear. Guess what? After a while, they figured out what? There's a whole nother area that you can't see. That's called your blind spot. And there were a lot of accidents that happened. So then they came out with technology to identify the blind spot. How about you come up with the technology up here of opening your mouth and getting yourself a mentor? You know what I'm saying? And that will give you an opportunity, because there's a lot of people who look down on that. And I don't need to talk to nobody. Oh, okay.
That's good.
I mean,
all right.
Prevalent in the Black community. That's how most of us were raised. I know with my family, they were more like, go talk to somebody. But I know most Black families is like, don't talk.
And see, mine was like that. Mine was, I mean, what'd you do? I grew up in the North, right? So when you got in trouble in the North back in the 80s and 90s, you know what they did? They sent you down south. Okay? They sent you down south to another family member. You know why? Because they were trying to remove you from whatever it is. Like if you was a dope boy or something like that, and then you got arrested. When you got out, they sent you down south. If you got pregnant, they sent you down south. If you weren't doing good in school, they sent you down south. They try to remove it instead of try to remove you from the equation, which maybe sometimes that was something that was okay, but that was universal. It wasn't talk to, counsel with, be mentored. They didn't even want to tell people in the church, because you tell people in the church and then they're going to talk about you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so backwards. It was ridiculous. And now we still do that right now. The church is a hospital. Well, last time I heard, sick people go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Guess
That's
what?
good.
We're actually all sick.
Yeah.
At some point up here, we all have some mental portions that need to be worked on. From
That's
your from childhood, from, you know, whether there's been molestation or whether there's just been, you know, verbal abuse, physical abuse, all that, you know, all that's still sitting there, laying dormant for your new person to come along and trigger it, and then all of a sudden your relationship over and you have no idea because you never dealt with what was sitting there the whole time. And the devil works to hide that stuff. He works to hide it because he hides it inside of, watch this, a whole nother brain. And you start identifying, you start taking your issues and you project it onto the other person as if they are the reason for it. When you've never dealt with it inside. And if you look down the line, you'll see a pattern.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
It could be a generational curse. It could be a whole bunch. There's some people right now that's relationships are jacked up because they live in a generational curse. Ain't nobody in the family could keep a man. Ain't nobody in the family could keep a woman. Ain't nobody could be faithful. Ain't nobody, this is real stuff. You always want to pass on that you like Lil Johnny's eyes. Lil Johnny got cute eyes, so that's why Lil Johnny got cute eyes because of what you made them. You know, mama, you know, mamas love to say, hey, they got their eyes for me, you know. Or they smart in school. Oh, they smart because of me. I did. What you passing on that's bad? What did your parents pass on to you that's bad? Because everybody's parents did it. I know you love mommy and daddy. They passed on something jacked up to you, and you're living it.
Exactly.
And if you don't know it, it's on the way. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on the way. So you have to be ready to arrest that and break that generational curse. Y'all want me to keep going because I'm getting hyped now.
That's good though. That is so good. And like
more. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was about to say we have 2 more videos in this series, so we'll keep going. Go ahead.
So we probably have to just break this all up because this is pretty deep. Deep.
I just want my single people to know they gotta know how they're in a special and a great place, and you just need to feel empowered. If you are currently not with a man or not with a woman, be happy about that. And embrace it and be encouraged about that. Because guess what? You find your person when you're in stride. It's almost like if you think about it, what's some of the best touchdowns that you've ever seen, like thrown, right? It's when that joker running and boom, like they dive for it, or they're like, boom, oh my God, right? When that joker got to come back to the ball, I mean, you still happy, but it's not that big, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not the same thing. Right? So here's the thing. You want to be caught in stride. This is where you want somebody to see you so they know this is what you're walking into. I work third shift, or I work 7 days a week, or I'm an entrepreneur and all my money is going towards my business for the next 3 to 5 years, or I don't want any children for the next 10 years, or I want to be, I want to knit. I don't know. When you see them like this, you can now make the determination: do I throw the ball? Or do I sit my butt down? And realize that person is somebody else's blessing.
That's good. That's good.
So that's dating with intention when you're being intentional about it. Go ahead, Vanessa.
No, I was just going to say, because people now with me, you know what I'm saying, it'd be almost 2 years, since, me and my husband or ex-husband haven't been together. And so people are just like, what are you going to do now? People are already, the pressure's on. Like, are you going to start dating? Are you going to I'm just like, you know what? No, right now, my focus is on business. My focus is on learning who I am, or, learning about me, love languages, and all these many different things that I didn't know in the beginning, going into it. So everything that you're saying is like so amazing. So it kind of has like my triggers up like, man, like this is so good, because you're really not taught these things. So it's kind of like, a lot of times you're trying to figure things out along the way, and sometimes when you figured it out, sometimes it's too late and you kind of like, you know, So it's like,
let me tell you something. Baby boomers, I love them, right? I love them. I think that there's some amazing people, hard workers, you know what I'm saying? Like they the grandparents and everything right now, very spiritual people, but they did not set us up for how to really do this relationship stuff. You know what they said? This is what they said. Now, I'm going to see whether you was raised by what I was raised with. Trust God and love. Wait a minute.
Come on.
What does that mean? Like, what does that look like? You think I'm just supposed to just trust God? I get it, Christian and all that, saved. Sounds nice, right?
Yeah.
Trust God where? With what?
Yeah.
I don't want to sleep with this person right now.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about trust God right now. No, don't nobody say that. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to love this person. So don't tell me just love, because love is an action.
Yes.
It's not a feeling, it's an action. So how do I do that?
Yeah.
What does it look like? Like I need step one.
Yeah.
Right? It's no differently than sex. Like, you know, from day one, like you don't just jump in and being great in bed. You gotta what? Practice, right? Okay. So some people didn't get that memo yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but so you don't just say just love and it's just.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
The number 2 things you hear at weddings or like bridal showers: put God first and don't go to bed angry. Both are good points of advice, but how don't I go to bed angry? Okay,
it's not always realistic. Yeah.
That's the thing. They didn't show us the how.
Yeah.
And the reason why some of that was pull things. The reason why that was because we grew up in a time where you do as I say, do not as I do. So they'll tell you to do it. So they're just thinking you're just gonna turn around and do it. And you're like, well, I want to.
Yeah.
But I can't stand Sherrie tonight.
Yeah.
So my name is Seth, and I can't stand Sherrie tonight. You're gonna tell me just go to bed, don't be angry.
Like, oh, okay.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't you give me no scripture right now. Don't you do that.
Don't give me no scripture.
Because I need to know exactly. I need to know exactly how to do this. You can couple the scripture with the how.
Yeah.
But you got to give me both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have to give me. And I think that's what even for us sometimes as believers where we fall short and where we can probably invite so many people more into the kingdom is that we have to look at it holistically. You can cut the verse, and then you got to break it down 10 ways in order for somebody, and they're going to get number 6. Yeah. They didn't get number 1 through 5. They didn't get 7 through 10. Okay. You know what, Sherrie? I think that's why Bishop normally give about 4 or 5 examples because he know one of these examples. One of these examples you gonna get.
You gonna get.
You gonna get this message. You gonna get this message. But I love my baby boomers, but I want you to understand that we can't emulate exactly. I want the love my grandmama had. Guess what?
Exactly.
Grandmama was most likely not walking in her purpose. I know she big mama. I know she cooked good and all that. Yep. Okay? But grandmama was not walking in her purpose.
Yeah.
She loved and she took care of the household or whatever. But guess what? She actually fell short of blessing God's people with the talent that he placed inside of her because now she might no longer be here. But how many more people could she have affected?
That's good.
Nobody says stuff like that.
Yeah. I was telling Vanessa a couple weeks ago, I was like, our parents' relationships may look like, oh, they've done well, they're lasted 6 years, but it's like, if you look, it's so much in there that has gone wrong that they don't talk about. Or
right.
It's like, do you really want it like them?
No, and you're thinking that, that's so good. That's so good. That's so good because I see that space where it's just like, I want the type of love my grandparents had because now they're 70 and he's holding her and she's holding him and they're grayed out and he's hunched over. That is a blessing within itself to see it, right? To know that it can exist. But if you peel back that onion,
peel back the layers,
and what we need to survive, we need the layers. We don't. The end result of seeing, okay, I can be like that. I do believe that somebody can be together for 50, 60 years. I do believe that. I do know it's possible. So I don't need to see it no more. I need to know how did you do it. And don't just say trust God and love. Like, don't give me some details. When, not if, because unmarried people, they don't understand this. When that person rolls over and says, I don't want to be with you anymore, how do you deal with it? Because it happens. And I don't know one married, I don't know nobody 30, 40, 50 years that ain't say that. It's gonna you're going to hit the wall if you're being honest about it. And so when it happens, how do you get through that? And so if you've been being an intentional in the dating space, now, like I said, you become intentional in the married space so that when these things come up, it's not a 10 all the time. It's like a 7. Like it's high, but it's not really bad. Like we can get through this. If everything is a 10 every time, you are not becoming an active participant in your rescue. And that's your fault.
That's good.
And you have to become the communication that you're looking for because people just think he won't communicate. So become the communication in your single space right now. Start to talk to yourself more. Talk to people more. Because if you're talking, like we said, to the mentor, see, it's a setup. If you start talking to mentors, talking to people who are better than you at something, when you get married and somebody else is better than you in it, you don't have a problem letting go.
That's good.
Right? People are like, this person, I left him because he was controlling. I'm going to tell you something really quickly, okay? Every leader is controlling. Your boss is controlling. Your mom and dad were controlling. So when people just like, you want the benefits, and I, talk specifically right now to my ladies because you want somebody to lead and all this and that. Well, a leader controls. Okay? Right? They don't know.
They want them to.
Huh?
So they want them to lead as much as they want them to. It's not like
exactly. You don't want once you go into the uncomfortable level now it's like I don't have a say so. Okay. Because as men, there's control that it's give and take. See what I'm saying? Sometimes you're going to be controlled. Sometimes you're doing the controlling, right? If you don't feel yourself controlling in anything, maybe you need to step your game up, okay? Maybe your value is too low to whereas you don't have an area that somebody goes like this. What you got to say? Because I ain't got it. You got it. What you got to say? But again, if you're in your mentor space, of zipping it and letting somebody else talk, you see what I'm saying? You're building for somebody else to come along and do that. And that's for men and women.
That's good.
That solves so many future problems.
Definitely. I know, right?
Yeah, we can go on forever.
I'm telling you. Well, we gotta say some for the next few times. But one question I do have. One question that I do have, so I know we were talking about single and stuff like that. Like, what would be do you think there's a age to this thing, or do you think it's all about the maturity level? Like, is there a certain age that you think people should start dating, or is there just kind of like the mentality, the maturity level, or how do you feel about that?
Well, I guess it goes to what we were just saying earlier about is there an age? I mean, you can start dating as a teenager. Because here's the thing. There's nothing okay. Dating is important. Dating for entertainment is important. So remember that third person that you talked about, Sherrie? Dating in that space where you have no commitment, there's an importance to that. Now, when you stay in that space, that's a problem. But when you do that, and you let the other party know this is where you are, because you're trying to feel out, what do you like, what do you not, what are the interactions that you like, that you don't like. Again, we can take it back to sex. When you start having sex, you start trying different things to see what do you like, where's your spot, where do you know. So it's the same thing in dating. What's your niche area? You know, are you okay with, you know, do you need to go Dutch, or does the person have to always pay? Or do you need to always pay? Or, you know, I was talking with the client last night, and he's really big on, you know, taking care of his woman, right? So, you know, when she's got bills and stuff like that, he was a little old school. So, you know, he's just like, I need to take care of all this. Meanwhile, I'm on the phone like,
yeah.
bruh, I wanted to tell him not to pay all them bills, but I have to operate inside of the person's space, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna tell him, no, don't pay her bill. If that's what makes him happy, cool.
It makes her happy.
Right? That's
too.
what makes him, and it makes her happy as well. So it makes him feel like a man, makes her feel like a woman. Everybody's happy. Hey, whatever you like, hey, you can have whatever you like. You know what I'm saying? Like, do whatever, but as long as he knows, the important part is for him to know what does he like, and then study the other person to understand what they like. So I forgot where I was going with this point, but I had a point here. I forgot it. Somewhere in there.
I mean, you made it clear. You made it clear as far as like maturity level, or was it?
Oh yeah. Because there's no age. Yes. There's no age for it. You know, if you have, I was talking to a lady in her early 30s last summer. First conversation, I called my business manager and I said, she got it, because the way she was talking, I was like, yo, people don't talk like this. She was 31. Right? But then I got people who are 55 don't have a clue. You see what I'm saying?
That's
so
good.
It's not.
That's good. That's good.
You have to be malleable in this space.
Yeah. This was awesome. This was awesome.
It was. Thanks, Elam. That was a.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I made it almost.
Right.
Well, my nerves. I was like, oh my God, the nerves.
Oh my gosh.
A part 2 for the single portion of this series. Comment down below and we'll bring Elam back. Our next 2 series or next 2 videos will be about marriage and being divorced / separated. So come back for those. Post any questions down below and we'll try to answer them. And Vanessa, you want to say anything?
Thank you so much, Elam. Honestly, this was definitely an eye-opener for me. I'm pretty sure so many other people as well. You know, it just kind of, it gives you a sense of hope, and it gives you a sense of, you know, that it's not over and you can hit the reset button and you can start this thing all over again. So I really do appreciate you coming on the show, because when Sherrie told me that she was going to be our guest, I'm like, oh my God, like we got the official one in the building. So thank you so much for even just being a part. And
don't forget to comment and subscribe. Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was my cell phone. You know.
You gonna say something else?
Clients coming through. But I just want to say, first of all, thank you guys so much for just having me on this platform. I have no idea what I just said, because when I operate inside of this space, I say that to people, but I'll be honest, because I'm on assignment. And so, you know, I hope that I said something that can encourage somebody, and particularly inside of our community. If we get the biggest piece for me is that if we get ourselves right, we can get our relationships right. If we get ourselves right and we get our relationships right, we can get our families right. If we get ourselves right and our relationships right and our families right, then we can get our community right. And people want to go backwards with it. So this is just focused on the community. Let's get ourselves right first.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then we won't have to go back to not being right in this area. We can tackle it. And then move on to the next stage. And so, you know, it's just that critical for us to, you know, and it doesn't mean that somebody has to always be with somebody. Sometimes being by yourself is your assignment.
Yeah, you have to think about it.
Everybody is not designed. Let me just say this: everybody is not designed for marriage. It's not. It's almost like wealth. Everybody's not going to be rich. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You can kumbaya all you want to. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to be. You have to know whether your assignment is to be able to walk inside of the space of what it takes to remain married in the 21st century. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it all starts with you. And so you can follow me on Instagram at Elam B. King, and also on Facebook. What is my Facebook? Understanding a Man on Facebook, and I have a YouTube channel as well, which is Understanding a Man. And then I have a podcast as well, so you can follow me on Anchor and Spotify and Google Podcasts and all of those, under the Understanding a Man podcast as well, with my co-hosts Charles and Alexis, who are amazing individuals. And just thank you guys so much. I look forward to whatever other conversation that we can have, and let's just rock and roll.
Where can they get your book?
Oh, I'm sorry. I do have a website, understandingaman.com. It's also available on Amazon, but I prefer you go to understandingaman.com.
Yeah.
And it's also for my audio people, for my people who can't sit down and read a book.
Yeah.
Like me. I put it on Audible as well, and iTunes, Audible and iTunes as well. It's available. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. And like I said before, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll be back with another video. Thanks.
Yes. Peace.